My name is Matt Maddix.
And my name is Caleb Maddix.
And we are the Passionate Few.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Passionate Few. Today we're going to be sitting down and talking to Caleb Maddix. He's the 15-year-old whiz kid who's not only an entrepreneur but also an author, started his own publishing company, and speaker, traveling all over the world with some of the biggest names in the industry. So today we're going to pick his mind and hear his whole story. Thanks for being on the show today, Caleb.
My man, appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So first question is, everybody sees the momentum you've been on. Where did this all start? Where did you grow up? Where does your story begin?
So everyone always asks me this because, obviously I'm super young, so they want to know, how did you get started? Like, what's the thing? Everyone always asks my dad that as well. And I've really pinpointed it down to really one story. Mm-hmm. And it was a day whenever I was 7 years old, and I actually told this story on a video, and it has like 20 million views on Facebook or something like that, because I think it's super powerful and resonates with like a lot of people. But one day whenever I was 7 years old, I went over to a friend's house. I was staying over just like, most 7-year-olds do, mm-hmm. right? And we were sitting down on the couch, and I forget what we were watching. We were watching some sort of show, and we were very captivated in it. And I was watching it and watching it. And next thing you know, I kind of got like interrupted for a second because my friend's mom walked up to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and it took our attention away, and we looked at her. Mm-hmm. And we looked at her, and we were like, like, what's going on? And she said, here's $20. And she handed a $20 bill to her son. And I was super confused at first because like, how did you just get $20? Because I've always been, super money motivated, right? The entrepreneur in me. So I was like, how did you make this money? And she said that he did these things called chores. Mm-hmm. Anytime he's taken out the trash or he makes his bed or he does the dishes, if he does that consistently, at the end of the month, he'll get $20. Mm-hmm. And I felt scammed. I felt like I've been lied to because I'd been doing this stuff, right? I had been taking out the trash, doing the dishes, all that stuff. But my dad had scammed me and wasn't paying me anything, right? So at 7 years old, free labor, right? So at 7 years old, I went over back to my dad's house once we were done playing and having fun. And I said, Dad, you've been like doing me wrong. Like, I want to start getting paid for doing chores. Mm-hmm. And my dad said something that in the moment I was mad at, but it actually changed my life forever. Mm-hmm. He said, no. And I sat there, heard those words, and I started to get angry, like, started to throw a temper what do they call it? Temper tantrum, like, most 7-year-olds do. And he said, no, I'm not going to pay you to do chores because you're not going to be paid for that whenever you're older. Mm-hmm. Said, if I pay you to do this, you're going to grow up to be a trash man. He said, I know that you have better things that you can do in your life. He said, I'm not going to pay you to do chores, but I will pay you for something that you will get paid for, and that's the books that you read. Mm. So what he did that day is he told me, Caleb, I will pay you $20 for every single success book that you read and write a report on. And I said, you know what, that's not that bad of an idea. Let me get into this. Yeah. So I started reading these success books, writing reports on them, success books like The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, Think and Grow Rich. And I started to pick up on these principles of success.
Did you start picking up on them right away? Or in the beginning, was it kind of like it didn't resonate with you? I mean, what was that like in the beginning when you started?
It didn't resonate because at first I was just doing it for like the money, but like the more I got into it, I was thinking, wait a second, this can actually help me make more money. Mm-hmm. And then I saw one principle. It was about take responsibility and not complaining. And I was like, this actually makes sense. Like, it's important not to, always be making excuses and always be saying why you're not here and here. So I followed that one principle, and I started to get results. I became a better baseball player, became better in school, made more friends. My teachers were impressed. And as soon as I found that these principles worked, it was off from there. And that's what's led to me being where I am today.
Mm-hmm. And then as of now, you're 15 years old, correct?
Yes, sir.
When did I know you started doing the books or the book reports at 7. When did you start speaking and kind of taking it to another level, building your personal brand?
Not too much later. I think I was about 8 years old. So 7 to 8, right? And the reason why that happened is because all these parents and teachers saw me like changing, mm-hmm. and they wanted to know like, what is it? So they had me start talking to their kids, and my friends were like, what is changing in you? Mm-hmm. So it kind of happened organically at first.
Right.
I just started talking to different kids, and they're like, man, this is super good. You need to do this for more kids, because their kids were now like doing better. They were taking responsibility. They were focused. They were reading, mm-hmm. all of that. And I was like, well, how can I do this? And I found out there's something called YouTube. So I started a little YouTube show. It's called Just Ask Caleb. I like to say that Gary Vee stole my thing. You do an Ask Gary Vee. Yeah. I started a YouTube show called Just Ask Caleb, and I used to have kids submit questions, and I would answer them. And then from there, no views. There was like 120 views per episode. But I kept doing it all throughout the years. 10 years old, Then at about 12 years old, I thought, man, I got to get this out to more people. This is impacting a lot of people, but I got to get this out to more. So I decided to write my first book, Keys to Success for Kids, and the rest is history. The book blew up. Took a lot of persistence, patience, and hard work. I used to go out and sell door to door, like with my book. I used to,
You used to knock on doors literally to sell the book?
All day.
How much
all
did you
day.
sell the book for?
It was $10.
And you would go knock by yourself?
Yeah, and I'd make, a couple $100 a day. Just
How
doing
old were you at that time?
I was 12, 13.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe just turned 13. And I used to, I used to do videos to Oprah on Twitter, like over and over and over and over again. And I'd be like, Oprah, you need my book. Like, where can I send it? I did it to Derek Jeter's sister. And then she ended up giving me an address. I sent it to her. Sent it to Grant Cardone, who you interviewed, which I got to clap it up. It was a great interview, by the way.
That. Thank you.
But yeah, I sent it to him, and then Grant held it up in a video. Gary Vee held it up. It was just the hustle and all that. And that's what's led to me being where I am today, hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger and making hundreds of thousands of dollars and, where I am.
Does it ever trip you out how fast everything happened, or do you feel like you put in the work just a lot sooner than other people? So you're kind of seeing the perks of that since you started kind of in your early teens, whereas most people don't start till their 20s, if then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that been like?
It would kind of trip me out a little bit if I would have started at 12 and I wrote the book and then everything changed, but I had gotten so many results before then. I would sell random stuff. I made a lot of money. I put in a lot of work. Like I said, I used to have videos with I think my first video to this day, and that's after everything, has like 120 views literally on it.
Yeah.
But
Did you get discouraged at that time?
I did it because I had a mission, but at the same time I did because I was thinking, man, I could go, talk to more people than this on like a regular basis. But I knew the long term, if I stayed consistent, that it would eventually blow up. And that's actually, I'll give you a quick powerful story. Whenever I was 12, I just released the book, or I was just coming out with it. There was this app that came out, and it was called Periscope. You know what Periscope is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like a live streaming app, just like Facebook Live, Instagram Live, all that stuff. So my dad found this app, Periscope, and he used to have me come on, and people loved whenever I used to go on his Periscopes.
Right.
They said, you need to create your own account. So I created my own Periscope account, and I did my first ever Periscope. And what would you think? Caleb Maddix, you have like 1 million views, right? No, I had 2 viewers on my first ever Periscope. But you see, I did not get discouraged with those 2 viewers. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to keep doing them. And I provided so much value. The second Periscope I ever did, probably still the best piece of content I've put out to this day. Like, I was fired up, young, after it. And 4 viewers. And I was discouraged, and I kept doing them. And a week later, I had a woman message me. She said, Caleb, I watched your second Periscope ever where you only had 4 people. I love that you gave it your all. I loved your content. And she said, my name is Diane Cardone.
Wow.
You know who that is?
Who?
It's Grant Cardone's sister.
That's awesome.
So on 4 people, if I would have just given up and not cared, 4 people, whatever, then I would have never, and next thing you know, Diane Cardone, she said, I want to get your book to my brother. I want, I want to introduce you. Grant said he wants to get me on the show. He started sharing all my live streams. Him and Elena started sharing them. And next thing you know, I started getting connections to all these people. But it's because I gave them my all with 4. And I think that's something I want to get across. People see the millions of views, but they don't break down like the beginning. Like, a lot of people just don't care. I cared about those 4 people. I was all about providing value. And everyone wants $1 million income, but they don't want. But they're providing $100 value, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd say you have 10 people watching your stuff. Great. Give it your all to those 10 people. Like, make those like your priority. Airbnb, whenever they first started, they were broke. They had nobody in it. They thought this is a great idea. Airbnb, the $1 billion company it is now, they thought this is a great idea, but nobody's buying into it. For like the first year, no one bought into it. You know what they did? They asked their mentor what's wrong, and the mentor said, you're trying to reach millions instead of trying to reach the 100 that you already have. He said, you need to find 100 people that love you rather than get 1 million people that kind of like you. So what they did is they went and lived with every single person who used Airbnb. The CEO of Airbnb went and lived with every single person who used Airbnb.
Wow.
And he connected with them. He cooked breakfast for them, took photos of their house, did all this stuff. And the next you know, those people loved them so much because of the connection, the relationship, that they went and met, more people, that they went and told their friends about Airbnb. and now they're worth billions of dollars.
So they built loyal fans and then scaled it out. Instead of worrying
Yeah.
about reaching the masses, it was just quality, and then it expanded and scaled.
Like most people just aren't willing to do that. My first 120 followers, no, I was like 107, I think it was. Every single one of them got a message from me, a personal message. And to this day, some of those people are like still my #1 fans because I connect with them. Just a second ago, like, we're getting set up for this. I'm responding to people on Snapchat. You can see it. It's because you need to build that relationship. If you want to grow anything, it's all about connections, caring, value, and like stop focusing on the numbers. What I'd say is stop focusing on your followers, start focusing on your following. Like, I know a lot of people with millions of followers that those million followers don't really care about them.
Right.
But I know people with 10,000 followers that they would buy anything that they put out, that they like they're gonna share any piece of content, and that's what you need to be going for, those deep.
And where did you get that mindset of connecting with people? Is that something your pop shared with you? Is it something that you picked up from books? I mean, how did you pick that up so young? The importance of being connected with your followers, because now everybody says it, but a couple years ago people weren't really talking about that. So where did you get that?
Yeah, for sure. I would say it definitely came from my dad. My dad's my #1 mentor, so he's everything that I pretty much know to this day. He's instilled in me. He's trained me on. He's coached me on. So I'd say, yeah, my dad's always been super focused on connecting and making a difference, and all of the above. But I think for me, the reason why I kind of had that mindset is because I truly was about impact more than I was income. Meaning, like, I wanted those 107, Twitter followers that I had. I wanted them to know that I cared, and I wanted them to actually succeed. And because I had that, like, it didn't make sense for me not to do that.
Right.
It was all about them making a difference, and that's what it is for me. It's all about giving. Like, I truly believe this: when nothing is going good for you, do something good for somebody else.
It's powerful.
Like, that's how I look at life. It's all about giving.
I totally believe that. And Tony talks about it too. Is the secret to living is giving. Is that sometimes when you're focused on me, depression and unhappiness comes from being selfish. Just thinking about what I'm not getting, what I'm not this, when you could go out and help somebody else and feel phenomenal about it. I do want to ask, I know you guys grew up in a rougher situation, right? A couple years back. So you want to touch on that a little bit? Because now things are going phenomenal for you. But some of those humble beginnings, I think, are really powerful and a true testament to you putting in the work no matter the situation at that time. So take us back to that. What was that like?
Well, first off, I just got to say this, man. I love this podcast because I've been on a lot of podcasts. I always do interviews and, been on TV in front of 8 million people doing interviews like this exact same setup. I love the questions that you ask because you're like truly digging for that gold. So I got to give some props to you, my man.
Appreciate that,
some
brother.
good stuff. To answer the question, I think there's a quote that I saw recently that's, everyone sees the glory, but they don't see the story. And I found that to be true. Everyone sees like where we're at now, but no one sees what happened behind the scenes.
Right.
And my dad and I, we definitely didn't always have it easy. We used to have we had $7 in our bank account at one time and had to live in a Sunday school room because we didn't have a place to stay. I can go down the list of just
When was that? How long ago was that?
Whenever I was younger. Dad, what would you say? How old do you think I was whenever that whole thing went down?
Probably about 7 years ago.
Yeah, so about 7 years back. So it was a while back. But that's not even then. Like, even recently, like, in the past 4 or 5 years, it's just been like pushing. Like, we used to, we didn't have a car, so we used to have to bike ride to Chick-fil-A. And like, but first of all, Chick-fil-A is good, so it wasn't too bad. But it hasn't always been easy. But here's what I'd say: those moments were, first of all, and this is important for people to realize. This is huge. I'm about to drop this. I want you guys to listen up. Listen to it on the podcast.
The Maddix Minute.
Some of those moments were the greatest moments we ever had, like the most fun. Let me put it to you this way. I was listening to this interview with Beyonce, okay? And they asked Beyonce, they said, tell us about some of your accomplishments. And Beyonce was like, oh, I sung with this person and I sung in this arena and this song had this many downloads. And she went through the list. And they said, tell us about some of the difficulties that you had and some of the hard times. And next thing you know, I see your face light up. Like, it was just this huge smile. And she's like, oh, I remember whenever I didn't have any money for this. And I remember whenever I was here. And I remember whenever this, song failed. And in this moment, I was so intrigued because I was like, why is she more enthusiastic talking about her failures than she is her success? And it's because I realized that in those moments, the journey is actually greater than the destination. Those hard times are actually better a lot of times than when you actually arrive. Because you're in the progression. And I want to drop this because I've never shared this yet. I thought about this the other day, but I want people to realize this. If you are not happy now, you will never be happy. Understand that. If you are not happy now, you will never be happy. If you are not happy whenever you're broke, it'll never be happy. You see, you're not happy because you're rich. You get rich because you're happy. You're not grateful because I have money. You'll start to have money because you're grateful. And when you understand that, it'll all switch. So in those moments, we enjoyed it so much. We laughed. We were talking about where we were going. It wasn't like we were depressed that we didn't have money. We were like, dude, think about whenever we're like one of the wealthiest people in the world, right?
Yeah.
Because we understood that when you're going through something, you're going to something. Like you don't just have, God only tests the people he wants to graduate. So you don't just get tested. You don't have hard times for nothing. We were going somewhere. We took in those moments. And I even wish that we would have taken them in more because those are some of the greatest times that we've ever had. So taking it now. If you're in the beginning stages, that's the best point. Like if you're at rock bottom, dude, you get to build up however you want. Like you're not stuck in your ways. Like you get to go after it. So take it in. If you're not happy now, you'll never be happy. Get happy now. Get grateful now. And then the rest will follow.
I love that, man. And then I noticed that, you travel all over the world doing speaking events. So I'm sure in your experience, you've seen tons of limitations in terms of people's thinking sometimes, right? What do you think are the biggest things that hold people back, whether they're in their 20s, teens, at any age? What are some common denominators you notice among people who are just stuck? And what's your advice to them?
I think it's all belief, like you said. I would say that the number one cause of failure, in my opinion, and number one cause of, just an unhappy life.
Unhappiness, yeah.
Is very simple. It's an average-minded human, if that makes sense. Meaning they're okay with average. Like I think okay is the biggest cause of like death, right? Like I go deep right there. Like everyone's okay with being okay. And I'm never okay with just being okay. Like, I don't just want a flat stomach. Like I want a six pack, right? Like I don't just want, to be, have some money. I want to have a lot of it. I don't just want to impact 100 people. I want to impact millions. So if you can get out of the philosophy of average, like that's why I was, I'm the leader of the #1 movement on the planet for kids who want to become successful. It's called Summa Success. And, I do a daily video for these kids. And it's just this amazing movement. All these kids who think successfully. But I always tell them, don't be average, be savage. And the thought there is this, it's like, there's way too many average people. Average people never change the world. And like, if you can truly get out of your average mindset and want to do great things, I'll give you an example. I grew up wanting to become the shortstop for the New York Yankees, right? And growing up doing that, obviously that's a pretty big dream. And we used to play baseball. We used to have tournaments. And I remember this one tournament where we're the shortest team, the worst team. We had no chance to win, right? No chance. So we play the first game, and this team is huge. I mean, these are like, 11-year-olds that are throwing like 70 miles an hour. Like they can hit the ball, they're hitting home runs. But we ended up winning the first game. And then we won the second game. And then we won the third game. And all these games we were not supposed to win. Everyone knew we were the worst. We had the worst jerseys and everything. We just weren't good. But we won, and we won, and we won. We got all the way to the championship. And the best team in all of Florida we faced against, and we were just kind of mediocre. And we played them. And they ended up, we got to the last inning, and we were tied, which was still miraculous. And everyone's like, yeah, we tied with the best team, right? And next thing you know, it's like a 3-2 count, 2 outs. It's a tie game, and they have a runner on like third or something. And the guy hit it, and they won the game. They hit a walk-off, right? So they won the championship.
Yeah.
And everyone, to my surprise, was pumped because they were like, well, we won second place. That's pretty good. That's not what we were supposed to do. And all my friends, we got the second place trophy. They're all taking selfies with it, posted on Instagram, sending it to their girlfriend. I took my second place trophy. I went right to the trash can and I threw it away. People are like, dude, why? Like, isn't this super good? I was like, I never want to be good. I want to be great. And I said, and that's why I'm going to do great things, because I'm not okay with just good. I'm not okay with second place. I want first place. I want to be the best. And a lot of people are okay with second place, and that's fine if that's your life. But if you want to do great things and you're just okay with this, you got to go bigger. Like, you got to think bigger. Just stop being okay with second place. I was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was in his house, and he told me that whenever he was younger, his dreams were so big that his parents hired a psychiatrist and made him do sessions with him because they thought his thinking was messed up.
That's amazing.
And now he's one of the biggest movie, stars of all time. Governor, he used to be the governor of California.
Yeah.
Just everything. Bodybuilder. but it's because he dreams so big. So if you make that shift, I think a lot of people, they're just okay with being okay, and I think it's a big holdback with it.
And I think one of the most beautiful things about that point is that it's true, is that whatever it is that your dream is, like somebody's gonna have it, right? Like whatever it is that you want, or a listener to the show, or somebody watching the show, whatever that dream is or that goal, somebody's gonna have it. Somebody's gonna make that income. Somebody's gonna live in that place. Somebody's gonna contribute to other people. Why not you?
Exactly.
You know, why not now? Now, do you think that that thinking is cultivated, or do you think it was natural? Because a lot of people, you know, they might go to seminars or events or read a book, get really motivated, and then kind of fall flat. How do you stay inspired, pumped up, excited? Because I'm sure you have your own, you know, personal or business ups and downs like everybody else. So how do you keep it level 10 revved up? You know, what are some strategies you use to stay inspired?
I think there's really three main things. I think the first thing is kind of like how don't you stay motivated? In a lot of ways is kind of my question. I think Gary Vee kind of did a video about this. Is like, how do you not stay motivated like being alive? Like, understand this. I'm hoping, and I'm putting it out there that millions of people are going to watch this interview with the videos that we put out, with the the YouTube video, all that different type of stuff. But Facebook videos, the 1 minuters, all that. But let's just say 10,000 people watch this. Just 10,000. Okay, let's just go to the lowest. Statistically, 20 of them will die within the next 6 months. And I usually hate using that analogy because it's so crude and like brutal, and it's like, you don't really want to hear that. But a lot of times that's what it takes to shift people into perspective of like, you really get one shot at this thing, and for you to waste a day, for you to not be motivated, doesn't even make sense. Like, you have an opportunity. Like, I always say, I don't mean this literally like why people are poor, but I'm talking about why people live poor lives. Like, as far as, spiritually, mentally, like why they're just poor. They're not wealthy in time and all of that is because they're passing over opportunities repeatedly. That's what poor stands for. Passing over opportunities repeatedly. And a lot of people, the reason why they live poor lives is because they're passing over this opportunity every single day that they wake up. This opportunity called life. Like my least favorite thing. Like I've seen some disgusting things in my life. The thing that makes me want to vomit the most is whenever I see people post on Facebook, oh, it's Monday. Like, I don't want to, like they post like some sad meme. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's Monday. You just got another week. What are you doing? The 10,000, 20 of them will die. The fact you're even alive is an unbelievable thing. So understand you have an end date. So make today the start date of you being grateful. Make today the start date of you being motivated. And I feel like that's the only option, because I know that if I get the opportunity, that's enough to be motivated. Second reason why I'm motivated, and why even whenever I don't feel like it, I keep doing it, is truly impact. I believe, what do you say? It's selfish. What did Grant say? It's selfish to be broke or something?
Oh, yeah. It's selfish to be broke.
Here's what I say. It's selfish not to be motivated. And what I mean by that is, let's say that I wake up one day and I don't feel like doing this interview. There may be someone watch this interview that's like, dang, I am going to die, or like this. And their life is like switched. It's changed. Or there's someone that may be on their last straw and they may want to commit suicide, but this interview or this video is going to change it all for them. So for me, it's like, I'm doing it for that person. If I don't do this, then maybe that person's life is completely differently. And seeing the impact, for me, it's just totally, I see the impact, and it's just what fuels me. Like we did, my dad and I, we spoke to about 600 to 700 kids the other day. And these kids are like abused, and they're super close to going to jail. Their parents have gotten murdered. Like the kids in this room, they're not the typical kids who go to school. And at the end of it, they were all crying. Like they were all like in tears, and I get messages from them like at the end of our speeches, and I get messages from them to this day of them now reading, and them now being focused, and them now like writing out their goals every morning. And that to me is like, I didn't feel like waking up. I went to, that day, and I had to wake up like 4 a.m. that day. I didn't really want to get ready and all that different type of stuff, but I did it because I knew that, that person's life has changed. So for me, it's the impact. And the third reason why, and this is a perfect segue, is truthfully, it's my dad. My dad keeps me going. That's why I do what I do in a lot of ways, is because I've had like literally the most unbelievable, insane father that you could ever have. And I kind of feel like I want to be that role model and that spark that my dad was to me to a lot of other people. And my dad just keeps me going. Like, you know, whenever I don't feel it, he's there to inspire me. He's there to encourage me. He's mentored me. He's given me the secrets to success. He's given me the secrets to live a happy life. Like, he's there whenever I'm doing speeches. He's there whenever I fail. Like, having that figure, you know, it's actually disappointing meeting celebrities.
Right.
You know, I meet like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'll meet, whenever I was at Arnold's house, Sylvester Stallone was there, chatted with, spoke with Tony Robbins in Dallas, and I meet all these celebrities, and every time I meet them, it's a disappointment because I live with like the greatest human on the planet. It's like they're all cool, right? Arnold's cool, man. If you're watching this, bro, your accent is fire, my man. But you're just not the level of my dad. So actually, it's perfect because my dad's right here. You want to have him go ahead and jump in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, would you like to hop on?
What's up, man?
Thanks for being on, Matt.
Hey,
yeah.
listen.
I've been motivated sitting here listening to my own son.
I love it. So tell us a little bit. Tell the audience, what was growing up with Caleb like? What are some of the philosophies that you implemented to help kind of shape his perspective? And kind of what are some things that you think most parents don't get right that you would advise them are pretty effective?
Yeah, great question. Which, first of all, great job, man. I love the way you do podcasts, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
awesome.
it.
So, Caleb's amazing. It's been such a blast. It almost feels surreal seeing him now because I know the backstory. Caleb used to be very insecure and very shy. In fact, I've met a lot of kids. I don't know if I've ever met a kid that was as shy and insecure as Caleb. When he was in kindergarten, they had all the kids come up and tell what they wanted to be when they were older. And Caleb was crying because he didn't want to go up there. He was the only kid in his kindergarten class.
And now he's speaking to Tony Robbins.
So when I see him now, it's amazing. But, I knew he had greatness within him. And I've studied success, and I know the success principles. And I knew if he was going to have a transformation that he would have to change his mindset. So it started with, I always tell all parents out there, be the most positive, enthusiastic human being your kids ever meet. Like, that's where it has to begin. We as parents have to speak a lot of, life and powerful words into our kids. And so the first thing I did was I wrote a letter to Caleb every single day. Literally every single day when I made his lunch, and I made good lunches, didn't I?
Really?
I always made sure they were healthy.
What kind of lunches are we talking?
What's that?
What kind of lunches are we talking?
Oh, we're talking like, carrots. We're talking like, a lot of fruits and vegetables. We're talking like only organic, like turkey with,
all my friends that have hot dogs and stuff, and I'd be over here with like
I'd make juices, green juices, and put them in there, and almonds, and I'd write them a letter, and I typed up the letter, and I would put a picture of memories of our life. Every day, literally, this is something he cherishes forever. He's got thousands of letters because every single day, and I would write like, hey, and I always tell parents, catch your kids doing right. I would say, hey, the other day we went to the mall and you held that door for that couple. I was real proud of you for that. And just consistently doing that, catching him doing right and building that confidence, I think that was huge. And then, of course, exposing him to the book Think and Grow Rich, Success Principles, The Power of Positive Thinking, those kind of books. And I had him watch every single Tony Robbins video. Like, literally, I'm talking 20, 30 times. And even to this day, he has a stack of books that I want him to read 30 or 40 times because it's all about immersion. I'm like, hey, these books right here, I want you to read them until the pages fall off. So little things like that.
And where did that begin for you? I mean, was your parents like that? Where did that seed of you want to take initiative and raise Caleb like that, where did that come from?
Yeah, not at all. I had good parents, but they weren't entrepreneurial at all.
Right.
Where it came from for me is I started in ministry. I had the best sales training that any human being could have. I was trying to, reach millions of people and convert them to Christianity. So I had literally the best sales and marketing training that you could have. So that's where it all started for me. Now, I'm not a preacher anymore, but I spent 15 years doing that. And I got a lot of good training about people and about persuasion and about, personal growth, growing. It taught me a lot about character and discipline and focus. So for me, I got a lot of it just from having great mentors in my life.
And let me add something real quick about my dad, a fun fact for everyone. I've never met someone more hungry to learn than my dad. Like literally,
really? Wow.
Like if you sit down and like listen to him talk to people, he's just like drilling with questions because he's trying to pick stuff up. And I've never seen that in anybody like to the extent of my dad. And I think that's a powerful attribute as well, because, what I like to say is the person that's hungriest to learn will always be fed the most results. And for my dad, I think he like every single mentor he had, he asked the most questions. He wanted to know the most. So he picked up a lot. He found out that a lot of them read. So, he's so hungry to learn. He wanted to learn from the experts. So he started reading a lot of success books. And I think the wisdom that he learned, he knew that my son needs to know this. My dad was very far from the philosophy of my son's going to go to school and they're going to handle him like a lot of parents are.
Right. Yeah.
He was like, I have to take control and I have to do this. And I got to say this, my dad did not have the best parents, whatsoever. But my dad definitely turned around. I think it's because that hunger to learn and wanting to impart that also in me. I think that was a big part of it.
That's awesome. And then did you just right away start getting him into personal development, or what was it that sparked that first time you told him to read a book? Do you remember what that day was like?
I think just recognizing, we went through a divorce when he was 4. That impacted his life, and seeing the insecurity, the pain, he had a lot of just depression, And I knew that if he was going to change, that I had to give him the tools. And I felt like it was my responsibility as a dad to do more than just send him to school and make sure he had clothes and, make sure he went to the dentist. A lot of parents do that kind of stuff,
right,
and then they stop there.
That's it, yeah.
So for me, it was giving them the tools. And so once I gave them the tools, that's why you see the results. And so for me, it was just knowing I knew what it take, because I've coached people. I'm the ultimate mentor. I know how to mentor people. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to mentor all these people and not mentor my son.
Right.
So actually, you know what I did? I became a fanatic. And I'll tell you what I did. This is why we ended up in the Sunday school room. Because I was very successful. I made a lot of money as a speaker. I've hosted 103 live events with 32,000 registered people. I've literally given over 5,000 speeches. I've spoke to crowds of 17,000 people. I was at the top of my game. But he needed me, man. And my life forever changed. He started to cry whenever I would leave, whenever I would go on a trip to speak. And it would rip my heart out. And I just mentally couldn't take it anymore. And he drew me a little letter, or a little picture, and any parents watching, you want to get your kids to open up, have them draw. And so he drew me a random picture right before one of my trips, and it was a picture of a plane, and way over here was a stick figure of, Dad, and way over here was a little stick figure of a little boy, and there were little teardrops coming down the little boy's stick figure. And I literally canceled a year's worth of speaking gigs. I didn't know what to do. And so I started a business. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've started, 31 different companies. And so I've always been very entrepreneurial. But I just knew that, kids spell love time, T-I-M-E. And the greatest gift you can give your kids is time. And so I realized I got an 18-year window, and at that time he was 8, and I just made a radical decision. I didn't date, I've been a single dad 11 years. It's not been easy. I've dated, don't get me wrong. We can talk about that in another podcast. I got some good stuff for all the singles out there.
Behind-the-scenes clips.
Yeah, behind-the-scenes stuff. But I will say this. That little picture changed my life. I cried the whole flight to Seattle. And I literally came back home, I canceled everything, started a business, and every day after school I picked him up and I turned my phone off. I'm talking off, airplane mode, until he went to bed. And I would get up early and I would work late so we could grow this business. But this became my business right here. I poured literally all of my time into my son, just spending time with him, and you become who you associate with. So he gleaned from that positivity and that abundant mindset and the personal growth and the focus. And we just started doing stuff together. And I knew that if my son was going to be successful, he had to learn how to sell. And I want to just leave you with a story and let you ask whatever you want to ask. But on my 40th birthday, I don't look 40, but
not at all.
We went to a cabin and just spent some quality time together. And, we were just hanging out. We'd been hiking all day, and we were sitting in the hot tub, and he said, Dad, if you could only give me one piece of advice, just one, of all that you've ever learned, if you were going to die tonight and you could only give me one piece of advice, what would it be? That's why I even have to think about it, man. He was thinking I was going to say.
Thinking, it was work hard or, read or something like that. But he threw me for a loop.
Be careful who you hang with. But I was like, Caleb, My best advice, if I could only give you one, it would be to master sales and marketing the way that Bruce Lee mastered martial arts. Make it your obsession. And as a dad, I've made him read every sales book you could. To this day, I put fierce sales training in his hands because I could die today. Caleb could literally be $1 million in debt. I promise you. Caleb Maddix could be $1 million in debt, and end up in a year paying that debt and having $1 million in the bank because he knows how to sell and he knows how to market. And to me, that's the greatest gift that I've given him as a dad, is those tools.
That's powerful, man. And why do you think most parents don't do that? I mean, I'm sure you come across parents all the time and you're like, what the heck? Like, you're not doing it. Because most parents aren't even remotely close to that, not even like halfway there. So what do you think it is in your experience with why most parents just don't do that or don't put in that extra time?
I think because of we've grown up in a world where we've depended on the school system, and I think a lot of parents don't read. They don't have an abundance mindset. They don't have a success mindset. We're in a 9-to-5 culture, and I think we've just accepted average. And the status quo is, hey, want my son to graduate, get make the honor roll, hopefully, go to college, go to the high school prom. It's just such a basic mindset. So that's why I wrote a book, and it's coming out, and we're going to give it away for free. It's called How to Raise Successful Kids.
I love that.
How many people you think asked us?
Like everywhere.
Tens of thousands of requests. Please give us your secrets. And I sat on that for a while, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to share it. So any parent in the world that would read this book and apply it,
get ready for it. It's about to be fun.
Absolutely, yeah. When it comes out, we'll be sure to plug the link and share it. Yeah. When do you guys expect to have that one out?
Oh, it's done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's done. We're releasing it. I mean, could release it tonight, actually. We're just putting some final touches on the website, but it's done. It's ready to go.
Beautiful. And that's out of your guys' publishing house, right? I know you guys have your own publishing company. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we created something called Maddix Publishing, and our whole motive behind it is we're authors. I've written 9 books. Together we've written dozens of different books. But there's really not a publishing company out there that's like for the authors. Like, we got tired of seeing our friends who would go through a publishing company and then they would like want 100 books in an event, and the publishing company basically owns their books. So they'd be like, no, you can't do that. Or they like had control. They would get all the profits. Like, it just wasn't how it should be. So that's why we created Maddix Publishing. Is just to literally get everything done for someone with their book, like get it completely written, and not take 2 years to get it done. We can write a book within a week. We've created a process, and the same exact thing we can do for the people in our publishing, like get it done quick. At the same time, also, they know how to promote it. So we teach them social media, marketing, and how to market the book. We took Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson, how to market it the exact same way that they did as well. So that's what our publishing company kind of does, and it's for the authors. It's kind of why we did it.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
3 quick things. We basically made a list of everything we wish we would have had and became that for other writers, because there's a lot of good people out there that not only have not ever written their book, but there's also a lot of good people that have written a book, but they don't know how to make money with it, and they don't know how to promote it and market it. So for us, we're like, you know what? Yeah, we can show someone how to write a book. We've got a perfect team that does all the formatting, the editing, design the cover, and we do it all. But the best part about it is we give courses where Caleb and I teach not only how to write a book the right way, but how to market and promote your book. And we don't take on everybody, because we give them access to us, where we mentor them, we coach them, we want them to succeed. It's not just, write a book so your grandma can be proud. It's write a book so you can change the world. It's write a book so you can get to your ideal clients. It's write a book, yeah, absolutely.
It's all impact.
It's fun. So MaddixPublishing.com for whoever.
If you want to go.
Yeah, very cool. And then when it comes to seeing some of Caleb's recent success, what's that feel like for you? Because you were there in the beginning, and now to see him on stages, traveling the world, I mean, that must be pretty surreal for you, right?
It really is, Omar. I'm literally like, I work hard to stay humble because I'm so proud of this guy. But you know what, honestly, I'm so proud of his success. He's written 9 books, and the accomplishments. And he's 160 speaking requests. And I mean, literally, people don't even realize what I'm most proud of is the behind the scenes, Caleb, the character, the humility, the respect that he shows me, how I see him treat other people. For me, that's like my greatest accomplishment. It's not, the success is beautiful, but there's a reason for the success. It's for people. And when I see how he treats, it's his heart, and see what he does off camera, off stage. That's what I'm most proud of. And I have the utmost, because his character, I always teach him, Caleb, talent will take you to the top, but only character will keep you there. And he has the character, not only the success stuff. So I'll just tell you a quick story where I knew. Caleb has always been a giver. I've always taught him to give. He's been on 53 missions trips. And our whole life is, anytime it's tight in business, let's start giving. That's how he got on stage with Gary Vee in Australia. 14 years old, he's making sales calls. I've taught him, sell high ticket items, set your fee high. 90 people out of 100 are going to tell you no. Who cares if 95 tell you no? All you need is 5 people to say yes on a $10,000 ticket, and you've made 50 grand. So
right.
He sold, and he was hitting wall after wall. And he came in, he's like, Dad, nobody's buying. He was trying to sell his books in bulk, and he's just selling different things, because I've always told him, just make offers, put it out there, because for us, selling is serving. So long story short, he was frustrated.
That, selling is serving. It's
we're big into that. You want to expound on that for 30 seconds?
Honestly, I'm really big into that. It's like, people always have a bad rap with selling. Selling is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because if you believe in it, then it's amazing. If you don't believe in it, it's not. Like I always say, it's unethical to sell something you don't believe in, but it's also unethical to not sell something you do believe in. So it's like, we believe in our stuff. Like I truly believe every author out there needs to do Maddix Publishing. I truly believe, and that's not even it. Like, Summa Success, like with what I do with these kids, I feel like I'm giving them a steal with it. So if a parent asks me about it, I'm not gonna feel guilty, like, oh, I don't wanna sell you. That's like the biggest myth about business. It doesn't make sense to me. Selling is good. If the offer's bad, then maybe it's bad. But if what you're giving is valuable, then why not do it? So anyways,
So I've taught him to have a daily sales routine, and he just hitting walls. And he knows this. And I didn't even have to tell him when he came in. He's like, Dad, I'm going to go give. I always told him, listen, any entrepreneurs watching right now, if you don't listen to anything else this year, if you'll start giving of your money, I don't care if you're down to your last $10, go give it to somebody, whether it's a single mom, whether it's a fatherless kid, whether it's a homeless person. Watch what begins to happen. So he came to me, he's like, Dad, I'm stuck, no sales. And for us, like, there's no such thing as having a day with no sales. It's like, wait a minute, that's impossible. So he's like, I'm gonna go give. So he took $100 of his own money, and we knew of a single mom who was a waitress at a place that's close to where we were living, and he walks right up to her, and he has it in his hand, and he says, hey, I just want to give you something, and he gave it to her. He goes, Dad, I need you to take me to the store. And we go to the store, and he buys with his own money 10 sleeping bags. He goes, let's go down under the bridge. Because, his whole life, I've taken him under the bridge at 5 a.m. on Friday mornings, and we would buy 100 cups of Starbucks coffee and give it to the homeless. So it's been his lifestyle. He knows it. Yeah. So he went and gave 10 sleeping bags to the homeless. We go back into his room, and he goes back to start making calls, and he gets a call from Glenn Twiddle. If you're watching, awesome dude. He's been so kind to Caleb. It's from Australia. And Caleb never heard of him. He gets a call from him on Facebook, and he goes, hey, mate. He goes, Glenn Twiddle here from Australia. He's like, how would you like to come and speak in Australia with Gary Vaynerchuk? And Caleb's eyes were just like, And of course, Caleb, he's like, yeah, I'd love to. That'd be $15,000 in 2 first-class tickets. And I'm like, nah. So his philosophy is, he's like, hey, where else are they going to find a 14-year-old speaker like me? Of course, everybody that at our speaking events will tell you, Caleb's the best, and I'm not kidding. He knows how to speak.
Right, powerful
just to
speaker,
speak.
yeah.
Thank you.
But the truth of the story is, Omar, he got that speaking gig with Gary Vee, I really believe, because he went out and gave.
And the key
and we've
is,
seen hundreds of things like that.
The key is not just to give like when you need to give, like always be in a state of giving, because then you're always going to be in a state of receiving things you would have never expected. Like that's with us. We do stuff with the homeless every single Friday. We throw a pizza party for them.
I saw you guys on social media. You guys do that, right? What is that? Is that like a Friday ritual you guys have
it's
every
actually
week?
Sunday nights what we did.
Oh, my bad. We used to do Friday. Yeah,
but it's a ritual because we've been blessed. And you just can never stop giving. You can never forget where you come from. We've been homeless. We know what it was like to live in a Sunday school room. We've been broke, at our lowest and in debt. Can't ever forget where you come from. But they always come up to us and think, oh, tell the pizza place thank you. We're like, no, this is not the pizza place. We never go in and ask for a discount. We buy it ourselves because we want to give. And it's just all about, for us, it's about going out there and giving encouragement. Caleb will speak to them. Some of his best speeches have been under a bridge to 100 homeless people, talking about vision for your life, attitude.
And what's cool is a lot of those people actually go and like do cool stuff, like like business. I had this one guy come up to me the other day, and I know he's gonna be successful. He came up and said, "Sir, I just want to thank you." He said, "Because you give, you're gonna be successful." He said, "Right now I'm on the street," but then he stated his name, and he said, "One day you're gonna see me on TV." He said, "Trust me." From that moment, I knew he was gonna be successful because of the conviction. But doing these type of speeches, that's what's really cool. I've gotten out of I love speaking to businesses and stuff. It's really fun, and you get a lot of cool people in the room. But I'm really getting passionate about like doing the speeches to the people who most people aren't. To those kids who have been abused, or their parents, got murdered, or whatever it is, they're doing it to the homeless. Because I feel like there's some powerful impact there.
Yeah, so we're really big into. Well, go ahead.
People who need hope.
Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of them aren't involved with the business or can't afford a seminar or whatever it is, they think it is that's holding them back. It's true is that a lot of them need that message the most.
Yeah. Well, he wrote a book on how to be a positive kid, and we're making money so that we can give every juvenile center in America free copies of his books, because we've got to get these kids reading, and watching his videos. And so he's grown up in juvenile centers. We've rented ice cream trucks and given away 500 kids free ice cream in the inner city of Philadelphia and Chicago. He's grown up in Skid Row. I mean, he's been everywhere, literally, at his age, and that's why he's fearless, so.
What does it feel like for you, Caleb, when you're traveling all over the world and you're starting to get these speaking fees? I mean, have there been surreal moments where you're just like, holy shit, this is this is real life? I mean, do you remember the first speaking event or the first check that kind of blew your mind?
I have an insane belief in myself. So for the most part, it never really blows me away because I know what I'm worth. And I say that people always want to increase their net worth. You want to increase your net worth? Know what you're worth. That's the first step. So I know what I'm worth, and I know that when people do pay 15, 20, 25, thousand for me to come speak, I'm delivering even more than that. So I do know what I'm worth, but there has been some surreal moments. Like I remember one time we were speaking in Toronto to only like 20 people. And my dad and I before, we were like, dude, what should we do? Because they told us we can sell. So we knew we were going to provide value and we were going to give some sort of offer. And there's 20 people in the audience, and I remember we decided to create a product worth $10,000, and it was really worth like $30,000. Like we provided so much value.
20 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes.
An hour before we were going.
Literally. And we went up and we pitched it to the audience, and we had 4 people purchase that product at $10,000 with only 20 people. So I remember that moment. That was pretty surreal that we made $40,000 in like 1 hour. But truthfully, like you understand, like there's people who've made $1 million in 1 hour. And like when your mind gets expanded, nothing really becomes surreal. Like I have such a huge conviction in myself. Like I know what I'm worth. And I think that's important for a lot of people. Everyone's looking for other people to believe in them.
Right.
You don't need other people to believe in you if you believe in yourself.
Elaborate on that.
Like I don't need my friends to think that I'm cool, because I know that that they're in 10 years are gonna be like, dude, like how did you do this? You're so lucky. Like for me, like for example, my friends used to always tease me like, oh, so you're a motivational speaker kid, huh? Or you wrote a book. Like I went on a trip with my friends once, and I remember we're all staying in the same hotel room. 3 or 4 of my best buddies, like best, I've known them since I was like 6 years old, and I was probably 13, just came out with the book, and we were on this trip. And they locked me out of the hotel room for hours. And they were like, you don't deserve to be in here. You think that you're better than us because you wrote a book. And I never even mentioned writing the book. They just saw it on social media. It wasn't like I was being,
showy or anything.
Like, oh, I wrote a book or anything. That's not who I am. And they locked me out of the room. And I remember sitting there and I kept knocking. I was like, please let me in. And I kind of just sat down and I got this like look in my eyes. And I was like, one day you guys are going to be like, I locked Caleb Maddix out of a flipping room. And those exact same people now message me and are like, can you introduce me to this person? Like, how did you do it? You're so lucky. I'm like, no, man, I'm not lucky. Like, when you were riding your bike, I was riding a book. Like, whenever you were on, a date with your girlfriend, I was in business meetings. Like, whenever you were, calling your, one of your friends, I was doing a sales call. Like, all this stuff, whenever they were doing this, it's not luck. I put in the work, and I know who I am. And it's like we were talking about before, Tony Robbins. What did he used to sign in the yearbook whenever? Oh, yeah. Tell the story real quick.
He would sign the yearbooks in Glendora. He graduated in, I believe, 78, and he would write in their yearbooks like, you didn't date me in high school, but one day I'm going to be rich and famous and touch millions of lives, and you're going to wish you did.
Exactly.
He'd sign it TR.
See, that pumps me up. Like, hear those stories.
And he said that those very women would come to his seminars years later. So it's an incredible turnaround. Yeah.
And that's how it is with me. I used to sign in my yearbook, Caleb. And if you're watching this and you're from my school, please pull out your yearbook and show me that I did this, and I could do a viral video about it or something. But I used to sign Caleb, and then parentheses in the middle, like kind of like a nickname type of thing. You'll see me on TV, Maddix. And I sign everyone like that. And everyone's like, oh, whatever. And they see me on TV in front of 8 million people, like doing a TV show. So like that type of stuff, that's motivational. It's like, stop trying to prove people wrong and just start trying to prove yourself right. Like, that's it for me. Everyone's trying to prove their critics wrong. I'm trying to prove my fans right. Everyone's like, oh, they said this, about this. That didn't really fuel me as much as it was like, I wanted to make my dad proud because he believed in me. I wanted to make that person who said, dude, you're going to be big, I wanted to prove him right. I wanted to prove myself right because I know my worth. I know what I can do, and I want to prove myself right. So, if no one believes in you, believe in yourself, prove yourself right, and they're going to be hitting you up and being like, dude, like, they're going to be wanting favors from you. All the people who ask for you, they're going to ask if you're hiring. I guess you could say it that way.
Yeah, Caleb's always had a very strong mental toughness, which is huge. For any entrepreneur out there, you have to be mentally tough. And he's been able to sustain a lot of pressure. I know the story, a lot of pressure, stuff that would shock people, the amount of criticism, hard times, difficulty, setbacks, struggle. It's been more of adversity than there has been hanging with Arnold Schwarzenegger, or Tony Robbins, or whatever. Right. But he's literally, I've never seen him get discouraged. I've never seen him even think about quitting because his mind is right. And if your mind is right, you can go through anything. And that's how he's able to sustain that confidence and belief in himself.
That makes a lot of sense because I'm sure that you encounter a lot of like jealousy, envy, haters, you're so young, how can you speak? What credibility or value can you bring? You're only 15. Did any of that ever kind of get in your head and you kind of have to wrestle with it? Or did you always know your value so it was kind of easy to get through? I mean, I'm sure that must have been a little hard in the beginning.
I've always had an extreme conviction, so it didn't always, but there was moments that it would. I'll give you a particular example, and this exact example was the day that I completely stopped caring what people think, and you'll see how it all goes. But I always tell this from stage, because personally it's like one of my favorite stories that I share, because I feel like it's the most impactful for a lot of people, so I'm glad this came up. So I do a daily Facebook video, or try to at least. Now I'm even going more consistent. I'll be doing a couple a day. And I've been doing that for a long time. And one day I filmed this video and I had the idea, how I shared the poor analogy passing over? I had the idea to do that video and I was going to title it, Why You Were Poor. So it's like a pretty, viral title, right? But I knew that if I did this video, it would get hate. Right. Because like anytime a, 14-year-old says why you were poor, like people are going to hate it, right? Everyone's gonna be like, oh, it's the government, all that. I knew that was coming. But I decided to film the video anyway. So I filmed it and I knew that it sounded harsh, but at the same time, I knew that I believed it. But I also knew that if I posted it, like I said, it would get the most criticism, like out of any video I've ever posted. So I didn't post it. I didn't post a video that day. I decided I'll film another one tomorrow. And it came to the end of the next day, and I still hadn't filmed a video, and I did not want to go 2 days without posting one. So I decided that I was going to post this poor video, and I was going to throw it up there and just let it go or whatever. And like if there's criticism, there's going to be criticism, right? And I posted it. And the video within, I think 3 hours had like 400,000 views. Wow. And I had, to this day it has millions and millions of views. And because I had so many views, I was like, whoa, this thing took off. And I actually didn't even know it took off because I completely turned on my phone because I didn't want to see it until I was in the mall and someone was like, oh, I just saw your video that blew up. And I was like, oh, and I went and checked and I was like, no way, this one really took off. So I decided to look at the comments, and that was a bad decision. I looked at the comments, and the reason it blew up is because it was all hate. It was just people, the government, like, is the reason why we're poor. You're able to say that you're a white male in America. You've never been anything. I bet you had a silver spoon. It was just like boom, 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 boom. So I was pretty discouraged, and I decided to look through my messages, because usually comments are bad, but they won't message you, so I thought there maybe be some positive messages, trying to get my energy back up, right?
Yeah, wherever you can.
So I read through messages, and there was hate. and hate and hate and hate. And it was like, you're awful, you should stop posting. And
how,
I came across.
How old are you at this time?
I was 14. So
Most 14-year-olds don't have to deal with that.
Oh, never.
It was hate. I'm
So,
talking.
and you haven't even heard the part of it yet.
Yeah.
I came across this one message from this guy, and he was kind of an older guy. And he said, Caleb, your videos are so dumb that I think that the world would be better off if you just committed suicide.
Wow.
And as I read that message, I was literally in shock. Like, imagine being in an electric chair and just like, you know, like, I was like blown away. And it literally almost brought tears to my eyes because I thought, this is a strong emotion. This isn't someone being like, your videos are bad. This is someone saying, you should kill yourself. Like, you should die.
Yeah.
And I felt discouraged, but I decided to read one more message, and you can feel like there was different energy in the room now. I was just so discouraged, and I thought, man, if this next message is discouraging, I may stop posting videos. Like, I was literally that discouraged. And the message from a mom, she said, hey, Caleb, my son used to have he has the worst grades in his class. He got suspended 3 different times. He has no mission for life. He doesn't have a father in his life, and he just tried recently to commit suicide. Wow. And then she said, after my son watched your video, he decided he's going to turn his life around. He wrote down goals. He's committed to getting better grades. He's no longer going to act up in school. And he's more focused. He has goals like dreams and all that. And she said, and I want to thank you. Because of you, not only is my son not dead, but he's finally alive.
Wow.
And as I read that message, that was like 5 electric chairs.
For sure.
Because it like put me into this mindset of like, think about how many people let their criticism get in the way of their impact. Mm-hmm. Think about how many people get that message and they're like all discouraged. But realize if I would have listened to that guy who said, you know, you should commit suicide and I would have stopped posting, then that kid would have committed suicide. Mm-hmm. So in my mindset, like it comes back to it, it's selfish to care what people think because that person who you could change their life is waiting for you. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that people get discouraged because their aunt, June commented negatively on their Facebook post, you don't deserve to become successful.
Yeah.
You got to get some mental toughness and understand, what am I about? Am I about me? Because I'm doing this interview, I'm not like, I want to look good, like, what can I say to like impress you? Or I'm trying to think, what is this person thinking? How can I like turn their mindset around? For me, it's the impact. When you can make that switch and understand, like 80% of people are going to hate you, but the other 20% are going to make you rich, famous, and happy. And that's just how it goes. You're going to get criticism. I probably get, out of everybody in this room, I probably get the most criticism. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. But I also impact a ton of people.
Yeah.
It's because I deal with that. So, I've had friends, they post videos and they get hate and they're all discouraged. I'm just over that. I don't get discouraged anymore. I actually hope for haters because haters are what's going to blow it up to show that person who needs to see it. Mm-hmm. Haters, I posted the video about how my dad didn't pay me to do chores.
Right.
And at all these people, because I said, I don't want to be a trash man. That video got shared into all these trash men Facebook groups. And like, they were like, oh, this kid's bashing trash men. I said like one sentence about it and those people shared it. But believe it or not, that's what actually blew up the video to where it has 20 million views. And that 20 million views, you know how many families have adapted to that and how many kids are reading now and how many kids' lives are going to be changed?
True.
So just focus on the impact. Stop being selfish and caring what people think.
And not only that, one awesome point about that is that a lot of times, even with Gary, early on, got a lot of hate because of his style. Yeah. And what they find in studying marketing, and I'm sure you know this, Matt, is that a lot of times if you are consistent enough, based on how you respond to hate, based on the reputation you build, you'll convert those haters into loyal fans.
Oh,
absolutely.
Let me tell you this, all right?
Yeah.
I love that point, and I'll let you expound in a second. But it's just so true. I gotta add this in.
Let me add this really.
Go ahead. Drop it.
Is that
we gotta flow?
Is that Howard Stern actually? They did a poll and they found that Howard gets tons of criticism. They found that the average Howard Stern hater listens for an hour and a half, whereas the average listener listens for an hour.
Wow.
Meaning that more people who complain about him, nag about him, write about him, they listen to him, they give the views, they fund the advertisers that pay him. More people give the attention to him than people who are actually fans. So it's kind of true. It's like those people in a way are kind of elevating your status for more fans, and then in time they'll convert. So it's a really win-win in the long run.
Yeah.
I had this one guy, and this is what I was gonna say. And I love Howard Stern for that reason. I've heard that analogy; it's super powerful. I had this one guy who used to always hate comment on my videos, and he would be like, "Your videos are stupid. You're gonna be a flash or whatever, like up and down." And next thing you know, he messaged me a couple months after just hating, and he was like, "Dude, I'm a fan now." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I see your face so much, I have to be a fan."
Right, yeah.
And I was like, that's my goal. It's like be in front of people so much that they just love you. It's like, the Kardashians. Everyone hates them. And then now, Justin Bieber, everyone's like, oh, but then they start to like him. And that's what I used to always say, my friends used to always hate on Justin Bieber, right? Justin Bieber's an idiot, his music. And I used to tell them, this is how I thought as a kid. I used to say, if Justin Bieber walked in this room right now, every single one of you guys would want a photo with him. And like, that's how I would have lived my life, is like, you're gonna get the hate, but like, make your haters want to take a photo with you. Make your haters like be like, no way, I met you, like, Amanda Cerny, she's really big on Instagram. I was watching some with her, and she uses, she gets all these hate comments on her stuff, like everybody does. And whenever she responds to them, it's kind of funny because they're all like, oh my gosh, I had no clue you were gonna see this. I love you. And it's like they turn into fans really quick. So when you're consistent, man, like the people, if you're not getting haters, you have a bigger problem than having haters. Like it's just true because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Dan Kennedy, who's a marketer that we like to study, he has a quote. He says, if you haven't gotten criticized by noon, then you're not marketing hard enough. And that's how I feel. If you're not getting criticized by noon, you're not doing anything right.
And if you think of titans of industry, it's true. I mean, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
There's tons of people that hate on Tony Robbins, as if he's some sort of brainwasher when he's making colossal impact, feeding hundreds of millions of people. So it's totally true. It's like, and let's face it, a lot of times the people that give criticism aren't really doing anything themselves in their own life of impact, A lot of it's envy.
A lot of time it's the jealousy, it's that. And that's totally key. I totally agree with that. It's here's what I like to say. A lot of people, stop thinking that you're special. That's how I'll put it. A lot of people think they're special in this sense. Oh, well, Bill Gates worked for his billions of dollars. Warren Buffett worked hard for billions of dollars. All these people worked for their money, but people think that they're gonna be, watch video, play video games and watch movies and that they're gonna make money. Like, you gotta do the things that other people did to get here. You're not special just because you're you. Everybody has to go through the same thing. So why do you think that you're gonna have millions of people that love you and no one's gonna hate you? It's never happened. Oprah, super sweet.
Right.
So many haters. Like, everyone has haters. It's just, I watch a cat video on YouTube that has millions of views. Oh, these cats aren't even cute. It's like everyone gets
it's
the
animal
criticism.
cruelty or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I always tell Caleb, don't respond. You know what? And if you're going to respond, be classy and stay humble, because you don't ever want to stoop to your haters' level. You don't ever want to go down to them.
Fuel their fire.
Yeah. Stay confident and stay in your zone. And most of the time, the best thing to do is stay silent. Even when they're ripping you and they're criticizing you, because your results speak for yourself. You can never argue with results.
Yeah.
Even if your haters are saying all kinds of things. There's an old saying that says, there's two quick quotes I love. It says, in my 20s, I worried myself sick wondering what people thought about me. In my 40s, I didn't give a flying flip what anybody thought about me. And in my 60s, I realized nobody was thinking about me. And then also, you got to get to the place. I heard another quote that said, your true friends. That's why it's very important that you have people in your life, mentors, friends, encouragers, because there's an old saying that says, no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to convince your enemies that you're right. They'll never believe your explanation, whether it's a rumor, whether it's a criticism. But your true friends, they don't even want an explanation. They believe in you. So that's why you got to keep a strong inner circle.
I love that, and I'll put it to you this way. I've never had a critic with a better resume than me. Like, I've never had someone hate, oh, your videos are dumb, that has videos with more views than mine. I've never had someone be like, you don't make anything or whatever, that they don't, that they make millions of dollars more than me. And you know what? If they have a better resume than me, they won't have, one much longer than that. I'm about to pass them up. So like, just looking at it that way. Another thing, and we were talking about this before, and I'll touch on this real quick, and then we can move on. Is a real reason why criticism doesn't hurt much for me is because criticism only hurts whenever you feel like it's true. So I was doing a Facebook Live a while back, and someone commented and was like, you buy all of your followers. You know why that didn't hurt me 1 ounce? Like, I literally was like, dude, you're funny, man. You know why it didn't hurt me? Because I've never bought a single follower. So a lot of times, what I'd say is, if you really hurt with criticism, don't deal with the criticism. deal with those hidden insecurities that you have. Like, you cannot tell Warren Buffett, you're broke, and he's going to start crying. Like, he knows
Jordan, you suck at
you
basketball,
can't tell Michael Jordan you suck at basketball. You can't tell someone with a six-pack you're overweight, like, and they're going to start crying. They're going to be like, look down, man. Like, you know, when you get results, it speaks for itself. And, you know, so what I say is literally, the reason why it doesn't hurt me is because I know that it's not true. When someone says what you're doing is stupid, if you believe, like your mom, if she says, you know, what you're doing is wrong, or, you know, or you have no future, your problem is not that your mom said it. Your problem is that you believe what your mom said. So switch that up and like get that belief in yourself. Get some mental toughness. Get some thick skin. That's what I would say to everyone.
Omar, everybody always asks me, how do you stay motivated? I'm like, dude, I live with Caleb Maddix.
Yeah. It's like a living coaching
Oh
class
man,
like
it really
that.
is.
Yeah.
It's
That
a
same
24-hour
thing though.
seminar, man.
We're back and forth. It's always like, hey, we can do this. Like, you know, it's a great relationship.
So
We're blessed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the impact you guys share is phenomenal. I mean,
Thank
you guys are having such a huge reach, and especially at such a young age, and to parents. I mean, you guys together are a tag team for literally people spanning generations of time.
Yeah.
So I applaud you guys tremendously for that.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up and play First Things First, because that's a game we play with every guest, I do want to ask you guys, you know, if there's any final piece of wisdom, each of you, if you guys could look into the camera, or people listening to this on the podcast, if you could condense Caleb Maddix's best advice to someone out there struggling, trying to figure out their way, what would it be? How do they get their life working? How do they cultivate that sense of permanent passion and progress and growth? What is your best message to the world, Caleb?
All right, let me look into the camera and let me drop it. The best message, all my advice summed into one is very simple. I'll give two quick ones. Become successful. What I mean by that, and I know this is why you're watching this interview, is you want to become successful and all this. What I mean by that is become truly successful. And here's what true success is. It's to progress every single day, physically, financially, relationally, and spiritually. See, a lot of people think success is just one of the four. They think it's financially. They think it's just money. But that's not the truth, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not healthy, then what's the point? You can be extremely healthy and look great, but if you're broke, then you're not going to have freedom. You can have both, but if you don't have good relationships with your kids and with your spouse, then you're going to be unhappy. And if you're not connected spiritually, then you can have everything and you're never going to feel fulfilled. So look at those four things: physical, financial, relational, and spiritual, and make those a practice that every single day you're going to progress somehow. Like physically, you're going to work out every day. Financially, you're going to, be studying success and making sales calls so that you're progressing. Relationally, you're hanging out with your family. You're not just working. And spiritually, you're meditating, you're being grateful, you're writing out what you're grateful for, you're taking gratitude walks, you're in that grateful state. Follow those four things. That's true success. And the final thing I'll say, and we'll play this game. Well, first, my dad will drop the truth, then we'll play the game, is this. The gun that kills the most people is the gonna. Everyone says they're gonna do this, and they're gonna do that, and they're gonna write a book, and they're gonna start a business, and they're gonna lose weight, and they're gonna. And they're killing their dreams with this gun called gonna. See, they keep saying they're going to, but they never actually do. So if you're watching this interview, you got sparked with something, you want to write a book, you want to do this, stop. Don't say you're going to do it. Take action now. Today is the only day you got. There's 7 days in a week, but someday is not one of them. The only thing you got is today. So take action today. Stop saying you're going to.
Wow, my man, that was fire.
Fire right there.
I love it.
So look, we all know the sales and marketing and the reading. I'm going to go a little bit different on you guys, and that is this. You have to master your inner game and your mindset and your energy. And how do you do this? Well, one of the things that I did with Caleb at a young age is I got him into yoga, my friends. So why don't you entrepreneurs out there that are always hustling, slow down and do a little bit of yoga and have a little bit more time for you to replenish your mind through meditation, through also taking care of you, your health, your family. And always treat your family better than you treat your best customers. If you do that, my friends, you'll have success. And I love what Caleb said about physical, spiritual, financial, relational, because it's so true. And my best advice for you, and I'll leave you with this, is really do find a way to give every single day. See, in America, we're great at events. We're horrible at lifestyle. We need to become lifestyle givers, and our practice is every day. We find a way to give every single day, whether it's shoes to a kid, whether it's a homeless person, a single mom. We've given away cars, we'll buy groceries, we'll do whatever. And the other thing is become a servant. We are way too entitled, and we allow ego and pride. Sometimes success can cause you to become blinded. I think the more successful you become, the more you need to serve. You can never stop serving people. And if you do those things, I guarantee you what Caleb and I just said, man, you won't even need to read a book the rest of the year, my friend.
Powerful.
Ooh, that was a good clap. So you hear that? You hear that?
Audio pickup's going to be nice on that one. How about any advice to parents out there?
Yeah.
In particular, maybe do a little,
Yeah, a little parent.
Yeah, quick little, 1 minute or two on something that you feel is the most profound thing for a parent out there that maybe is trying to juggle a career and also raising a kid, or trying to instill good values in their kid. What would be your best piece of advice condensed and given to the world of parents?
Great question. I mean, Omar, guys, this is the
I'm
best podcast.
honestly
Seriously.
impressed.
We've got a lot of podcasts.
Can we give it up for the team as well?
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys see my
absolutely.
camera?
Man.
Round of
I mean,
applause.
they're amazing. You guys should see all
killing
these guys here, man. But anyways, listen, my best advice for parents is to stop overthinking it. I know it's tough juggling so much, but at the end of the day, it's all about attitude and energy. It's all about enthusiasm and not allowing stress to beat you, and to staying positive. And your home should be the happiest place in the world. Going to Disney should feel boring for our kids because our homes are so full of love and laughter. And just don't stop having fun. You know, I want to encourage all you parents out there to enjoy life. Even we had so much fun even when we didn't have money. You know, nobody would have known we didn't have money. Nobody would have known we were stressed out and in debt. Nobody, not even Caleb. So it's all about your attitude. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your energy. And I'll leave you with this, just on a practical side. If you really want your kids to become successful, you have to teach them delayed gratification. That's one of the things that I taught Caleb. I would buy him a donut and then tell him he'd get ready to eat it, and I'd say, actually, you need to wait 2 hours before you eat that.
Cruel stuff.
You know, cruelty, man. But you know what? I was teaching them discipline. Delayed gratification is one of the greatest gifts you can give your kids. And teaching them meditation and yoga, because he mastered focus. And if kids can become disciplined and they can become focused, along with some of the things we share in this podcast, I'm telling you, we'll see major results. And I never, ever spoke negative to Caleb. Let's say Omar said to me, dude, your son is an amazing kid. You know what I see most parents do? Oh, well, you ought to see him at home. Or my kid, I've never once done that. And I think that if you do these things, and of course, please really do, I'm giving it for free, no strings attached. Read my book, How to Raise Successful Kids, because I give the secrets of what I did. There were 10 very strategic things that I did with Caleb that just work, and any parent can use them. I'm a single dad, so if I could do it, I know you guys can do it.
That's powerful, man. You guys are literally a tag team of like generations that could be touched by your guys' words. So thank you guys for sharing that. First things first, so it's the game we play at the end of every podcast. Grant and Elena played it. So how it works is I'm going to say 10 words or phrases, and then you tell me the first thing that pops in your mind in relation to that. Does that make sense? So I'll play with Caleb first, and then you guys can play back and forth.
Okay.
Make sense? So you ready?
All right,
so I'm going to do 10 words. You tell me the first thing that pops in your mind, okay?
Just one word.
A word or phrase.
All right.
The only rule is that you can't repeat yourself twice.
Okay.
Got it?
Cool.
Okay. So first one. The $100,000 when you were 14.
Hard work and fulfillment when I hit it. Yeah.
Passion.
The variable of success that everyone needs to have.
Impact.
Everything. Why I do what I do. And if you don't have it, if that's not your goal, then you're going to fail.
Obstacles.
Setbacks are setups for your comeback. So take them in.
Money.
Freedom.
Your future.
Pretty flippin' bright.
That's awesome.
Your fans.
The best. The Maddix addict. Shout out to all you guys.
The haters.
You guys make me wealthy, so I appreciate it.
Your dad.
The greatest human on the planet.
And then last one, you ready? Your impact to the world.
Once again, why I do what I do and my sole focus, and I'm continuing to try to up it and make it greater.
I love it. Very cool.
I'm impressed.
Caleb,
Was that on the
great
spot,
job.
or did you have
That
like
was
those
on the
memorized?
spot.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed. I could not do
Great
that.
stuff.
I feel them out. So yeah, so you guys can do it back and
Those are
forth
good.
now. Thank you, yeah. You guys can do it back and forth. So any 10 words, the best way to count is on your fingers. That's kind of how I do it. Any 10 words back and forth. So you guys can decide who goes first, and you guys play together.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay,
Dating.
cool.
Not doing it till I'm worth $1 million. Trying to stay focused. Dating to you.
Dating to me for you.
No, just you.
Dating is something that you should do thoughtfully.
Patient, your turn. You go back and forth, right?
Okay, food.
Foods affect mood, so make sure you're eating healthy. Style.
Relative.
Yeah, it's important.
Depends on someone's opinions. Very
I
important.
got a good one coming up there.
But like my style compared to your style, Chris, he's always teaching me how to dress. You know?
What
What
about
I turned to yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Travel.
Fun. The world's a book, and if you stay in one place, you're only reading one page. So go after it. What about confidence?
The most important trait that any human being must master if they're going to be successful. Okay. Where are we at now?
7.
Omar's good. I like him. Man, we should do this to Omar, actually.
Yeah, we should throw some at
It's okay. My turn. Sports.
Fun, passion. Yeah, I like it. What about for you, like being on stage?
I absolutely love it. It's so much fun, so much energy, but most importantly about the impact of the people in the room. It's not about the speaker, it's about the audience. For you, your best advice for every kid on the planet.
Learn, earn, and return. Learn meaning grow every single day. Earn meaning start doing sales and making money. And return meaning give back every single day. Omar.
Ooh.
Oh, that's solid. I should get paid for that one. That was
That's a
solid.
tricky one. I like that
3
one.
things. Extremely authentic. He's the real deal. Very humble, but also very confident, very powerful. That's 1. 2, very focused. I love his focus. I love his mission and what he's doing with these podcasts. And the 3rd thing is I love that he listens. He knows how to ask questions and listen. I'm one of the top 3 podcasters I've ever seen.
Thank you guys. Honored to have you guys on the show. Thanks
Yeah.
again. And for the people listening or watching, where can they find more? If you guys want to plug your social links, any upcoming products you guys have, go ahead. Feel free to share it.
Yeah, I'm at Caleb Maddix on everything. So CalebMaddix, except for Snapchat. I'm Caleb Maddix 13 on Snapchat. But follow me on Instagram. Some place I'll read all you guys' DMs, hit me up, comment, interact. That's where you guys can join the Maddix Addict family. So Caleb Maddix on Instagram.
Absolutely. And just, anything teammaddix.com is where you'll find our stuff. And then Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. But we would love to connect with you. And we appreciate all you guys that took the time to watch this podcast. It was fun being
Do me
with
a
you.
favor for everyone watching this. What I love on podcasts most is just like, it's cool because right now I don't really realize like the people who are like the actual people. For me, it's cool to see the numbers come to life. So do me a favor, do message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but preferably Instagram, and tell me what you thought about the podcast. What was your favorite part? I truly want to connect with you guys, get to know you guys. If you have a question, like personal questions, let me know. I'll send you guys a video back. I'm trying to read everything on there. So find me on Instagram and message us. Let us know what you thought about this.
Wow. An honor to have you guys on again.
Dude, honor to be on.
Thank you again, Caleb and Matt. That's a wrap for this week's episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in to The Passionate Few. Be sure to follow Matt and Caleb on Instagram, Facebook, all their social media outlets. And be sure to follow all their new business material coming out soon. Stay tuned and live inspired, guys. We'll see you next time.
Final thing. I know you got your outro going. All right, let me say this. You guys gotta continue to follow The Passionate Few. He's telling us he has some great guests. This guy's the real deal. He knows what he's talking about. And he's going to get the most content out of every single guest that he has. So continue to follow it, subscribe, do whatever you got to do.
And make sure you share it to all your friends too. That's your obligation, because when you see something great, share it with others.
Absolutely. We look forward to expanding the Maddix Addicts baseline. Appreciate that, guys.